What if the future is not something waiting to happen? What if it has already happened on a level of reality you cannot yet see? Every day you make decisions believing you are creating tomorrow. But what if tomorrow already exists? What if the people you will meet, the opportunities that will transform your life, and the moments that will change everything are already part of a timeline hidden beyond your current awareness? Quantum mysteries have revealed that reality may be far stranger than it appears. Time may not be unfolding the way we think it is, and if that is true, then the future is not chasing you. You have been moving toward it since the beginning. Tonight we explore a possibility that could change how you see destiny forever. The future may already be sealed. The future existed before the first choice. Most people imagine the future as a blank page. They believe life begins at a starting point and then moves forward one choice at a time, gradually creating what comes next. According to this view, tomorrow does not exist yet. It is something that will be built from today's actions. This idea feels natural because it matches how we experience life. We wake up each morning not knowing exactly what will happen. We make decisions, we take risks, we change plans. From our perspective, the future appears open and unwritten. But what if this experience is incomplete? What if uncertainty is not evidence that the future does not exist? What if uncertainty only means that you cannot see it yet? Imagine standing inside a vast maze. From your position, you can only see a few steps ahead. Every turn feels unpredictable. Every path feels uncertain, yet someone viewing the maze from above sees the entire structure at once. They can see the entrance, the exits, and every route connecting them. The difference is not that two different mazes exist. The difference is perspective. Quantum physics introduced ideas that challenged humanity's ordinary understanding of time. Some interpretations suggest that past, present, and future may not be as separate as they appear. Instead of reality creating itself moment by moment, there may be a deeper level where the entire structure already exists, while consciousness moves through it one experience at a time. Think about a movie stored on a hard drive. The ending already exists. The middle already exists. The beginning already exists. Yet the viewer experiences the story scene by scene. The characters do not know what happens next. The audience watching for the first time does not know what happens next. Still, the entire story is already there. Life may contain a similar mystery. What if the opportunities that will change your life already exist somewhere ahead on the timeline? What if the people you have not met yet are already part of the larger pattern? What if the answers to questions that trouble you today already exist, even though you have not reached them yet? This possibility changes the way we think about uncertainty. Most people fear uncertainty because they imagine it as empty space. They see the future as darkness, a void. They say, an unknown territory where anything could happen. But if the future already exists in some deeper form, uncertainty is not emptiness. It is simply limited visibility. The destination may already be there, even when the road is hidden. This does not mean your choices are meaningless. Quite the opposite. Your choices may be part of the very path leading you toward what already exists. Imagine reading a novel. The final chapter has already been written, but the characters still make decisions. They still face challenges. They still grow, struggle, and transform. Their actions matter because those actions are part of the story itself. Your decisions remain important. Your effort remains important. Your courage remains important. The possibility that the future exists before you reach it does not remove free will from the journey. It simply suggests that the journey may be unfolding within a larger structure than the mind can currently perceive. And perhaps this is why certain moments in life feel strangely inevitable. You meet someone and feel as though the encounter was waiting to happen. You discover an opportunity at exactly the right time. You look back on a series of events and realize they connected in ways you never could have predicted. Everything seemed random. Later, a pattern becomes visible. The path appears less accidental than it once seemed. The deeper mystery is that the future may not be racing toward you from an empty tomorrow. It may already exist as part of a larger reality that your awareness has not yet reached. Every day you move through time believing you are creating the future. Yet another possibility quietly waits beneath the surface. You may also be discovering a future that was already there, waiting for the moment when your journey finally arrived. Why reality hides the outcome until the right moment? If the future already exists in some deeper sense, an important question immediately appears. Why can we not see it? Why does life feel uncertain? Why are answers hidden while we are living through the questions? This seems unfair. People spend years worrying about situations that eventually work out. They lose sleep over outcomes that later become blessings. They fear paths that later reveal opportunities they could never have imagined. Looking backward, the pattern often seems obvious. Looking forward, it rarely does. This mystery suggests that uncertainty may serve a purpose. Imagine reading the final chapter of a novel before reading the first page. The suspense disappears. The growth of the characters loses much of its meaning. The surprises are no longer surprises. The discoveries no longer feel like discoveries. The story becomes information instead of experience. Life may operate according to a similar principle. The hidden outcome remains hidden because the journey itself contains lessons that could not exist if everything were revealed in advance. A seed does not become a tree in a single moment. It develops through stages. Roots form beneath the surface before branches appear above it. Growth occurs in a sequence. If every stage happened simultaneously, the process would lose its meaning. Human development follows a similar pattern. Wisdom often arrives gradually. Strength develops through challenges. Understanding emerges through experience. The future may be concealed because revealing it too early would interfere with the transformation required to reach it. Quantum physics introduced a fascinating idea. At deeper levels of reality, possibilities can exist before a specific outcome becomes visible. The final result remains hidden until certain conditions allow it to emerge. What appears uncertain from one perspective may already exist within a larger framework. Life often feels exactly like this. There are periods when nothing seems clear. You do not know where a decision will lead. You do not know why a delay is happening. You do not know why certain doors remain closed. The mind interprets this as a lack of direction. Yet another possibility exists. The direction may already exist. You simply do not occupy the position required to see it yet. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. A winding road stretches ahead. From where you stand, only the next turn is visible. The rest of the route disappears behind the landscape. Someone standing at the summit sees far more than you do. The road has not changed. Your perspective has. Many moments in life work this way. The path remains hidden because your current viewpoint cannot yet reveal the entire design. This hiddenness also protects growth. If people knew every future success, they might never develop resilience. If people knew every future answer, they might never learn patience. If people knew every future opportunity, they might never cultivate trust. The unseen outcome creates space for transformation. The uncertainty is not merely an obstacle, it is part of the process. This helps explain why some of the most important events in life arrive at precisely the right moment, rather than the earliest possible moment. The opportunity appears when you are prepared for it. The lesson appears when you can understand it. The connection appears when you are ready to recognize its value. Many people discover that events unfolded with a timing far more intelligent than their immediate desires. What once felt like delay reveals itself as preparation. What once felt like rejection reveals itself as redirection. What once felt like confusion reveals itself as hidden guidance. The future remains concealed, not because reality is withholding it. The future remains concealed because awareness is moving through a sequence designed for discovery. The outcome may already exist beyond your current horizon. The path may already be formed. The destination may already be waiting. Yet life reveals it piece by piece, moment by moment, Step by step, that is the real secret. Reality does not hide the outcome to punish you. Reality hides the outcome so that you can become the person capable of reaching it. The future is not only about where you are going, it is also about who you are becoming on the way there. And that transformation can only unfold when tomorrow remains hidden until the right moment arrives. The strange signals leaking from tomorrow into today. What if the future is not completely silent? What if traces of it are already appearing in your life long before the events themselves arrive? Most people think of time as a one-way movement. The past influences the present, and the present influences the future. Cause comes first. The effect comes later. This way of thinking feels natural because it matches everyday experience. Yet there are moments that seem to challenge this simple picture. A person suddenly feels drawn toward a place they have never visited. An unexpected idea appears and changes the direction of their life. A chance encounter introduces someone who later becomes deeply important. A strange feeling encourages a decision that only makes sense years later. These moments appeared ordinary. Looking back, they seem connected to something much larger. It is as though fragments of the future were quietly influencing the present before the future itself arrived. Quantum mysteries have inspired many discussions about the nature of time. While scientists continue debating what time truly is, some interpretations suggest that reality may be more interconnected across time than our everyday experience suggests. Whether or not this is ultimately correct, it offers a fascinating lens through which to examine human experience. Think about how often people say things like, "I don't know why, but I felt I had to go there. I can't explain it, but something told me to make that choice. I had no idea why I was interested in that subject, but it changed my life years later." These moments are surprisingly common. The logical mind usually dismisses them as coincidence. Yet when enough of them accumulate, a pattern begins to emerge. Imagine standing in a dark room while someone slowly turns up the light. You cannot see the full picture. You notice only vague shapes, small hints, tiny clues. As the light increases, the hidden structure becomes clearer. Life often unfolds in a similar way. The future rarely arrives without warning. It sends subtle signals ahead of itself, not clear instructions, not complete answers, just hints. A sudden fascination, an unusual opportunity, a recurring symbol, a persistent question, an unexpected meeting, a powerful intuition. Each clue appears insignificant on its own. Together, they begin forming a trail. Many of history's most influential discoveries began this way. People followed a curiosity they could not fully explain. They became interested in a subject before understanding its importance. They felt compelled to explore a path without knowing where it would lead. Only later did they realize that the path was leading somewhere meaningful all along. This does not mean every impulse comes from the future. It does not mean every coincidence carries a hidden message. The deeper point is that reality often reveals itself gradually. Large transformations frequently begin as small signals. Major chapters often announce themselves through tiny details. A single conversation, a single book, a single question, a single decision. These moments may seem too small to matter, yet they can become the starting point of an entirely different future. Imagine a river flowing toward the ocean. Far upstream, the water may show subtle signs of the destination ahead. The current shifts, the landscape changes, the movement becomes more directed. The ocean is still far away, but traces of its influence are already present. Human experience can feel surprisingly similar. Long before a major event arrives, your life may begin reorganizing itself around it. New interests emerge. Old priorities fade. Unexpected connections appear. Certain opportunities keep returning. It is as though the future is casting a faint shadow backward through time. Most people miss these signals because they expect guidance to be dramatic. They expect certainty. They expect a clear announcement. Reality often communicates more quietly. The clues arrive disguised as ordinary moments, a thought that will not leave, a path that keeps reopening, a feeling that something important is approaching. At first, these signals seem meaningless. Years later, they often appear obvious. Looking backward, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. The strange attraction, the recurring opportunity, the repeated encounter, the growing curiosity, all of them were pointing toward something, not forcing the future into existence, preparing you to recognize it when it arrived. And perhaps this is one of the greatest mysteries of all. The future may not be completely hidden. It may already be whispering to you through small signs scattered throughout the present. The challenge is not whether the signals exist. The challenge is whether you are paying enough attention to notice them. Because sometimes what appears to be a coincidence today becomes the most important clue in your entire story tomorrow. The hidden architecture beneath every coincidence. Most people use the word coincidence to describe events they cannot explain. Two strangers meet at exactly the right moment. A person discovers the perfect opportunity immediately after giving up hope of finding it. A book appears containing the answer to a question that was never spoken aloud. A conversation changes the direction of a life in ways that become clear only years later. When these things happen, the easiest explanation is often the simplest one. It was just a coincidence, and sometimes that may be true. Yet there are moments when coincidences seem to carry a strange quality that makes them difficult to dismiss completely. The timing feels too precise. The connections feel too meaningful. The sequence of events feels too organized. It is as though invisible threads were linking experiences together long before anyone noticed the pattern. Imagine looking at the backside of a tapestry. From that perspective, everything appears chaotic. Threads cross in every direction. Colors seem disconnected. No clear image can be seen. If you judged the tapestry from that side alone, you might conclude that there is no design at all. Then the tapestry is turned around. Suddenly the confusion transforms into a picture. The same threads that looked random now reveal structure. The same crossings that looked accidental now reveal intention. Life often feels like looking at the backside of the tapestry. While living through events, we see only fragments. A disappointment here, an opportunity there, a meeting that seems unimportant, a decision that feels insignificant. Nothing appears connected. Years later, the picture begins to emerge. The disappointment redirected you toward a better path. The opportunity introduced a crucial lesson. The meeting changed everything. The small decision created consequences far larger than expected. The pattern becomes visible only after enough pieces are in place. Quantum physics introduced a universe where hidden relationships often exist beneath visible appearances. At deeper levels, reality appears less like isolated objects and more like interconnected processes. What seems separate on the surface can reveal unexpected connections when viewed from a broader perspective. Human experience sometimes feels remarkably similar. Events that appear unrelated may later reveal themselves as parts of the same larger movement. A person loses one opportunity only to discover that the loss created space for something far more important. Someone misses a train, takes a different route, and meets a person who changes their future. A random interest develops into a lifelong purpose. At the moment, each event appears independent. Later, they form a sequence. The hidden architecture begins revealing itself. This does not mean every event is predetermined in a simplistic way. It means that reality may contain more structure than the mind can immediately perceive. Think about how many important moments in your life depended upon countless events happening beforehand. The people you know, the experiences you have had, the knowledge you possess, the opportunities available to you. Each one emerged from a chain of events stretching far into the past. If even one link in that chain had changed, your current reality might look very different. This realization reveals something profound. What appears as a single coincidence may actually be the visible meeting point of thousands of invisible causes. The mind sees the final event. Reality contains the entire network behind it. That network remains hidden because it is too vast to observe directly. Imagine standing in the center of a giant city and watching a single traffic light change color. The event seems simple, yet behind it exists an entire system of roads, signals, computers, engineers, and infrastructure making that moment possible. Life often works the same way. The visible event is only the surface expression of a much larger structure. This is why certain coincidences feel so powerful. They create the sensation that reality is revealing part of its hidden design. For a brief moment, the invisible architecture becomes visible. The separate pieces connect, the random events align, the deeper pattern shines through. Many people experience these moments and immediately return to their ordinary assumptions. Others become curious. They begin paying attention. They begin noticing how frequently life seems to arrange encounters, opportunities, and lessons in ways that exceed simple chance, not because every event contains a secret message, but because reality may be far more interconnected than it first appears. The hidden architecture does not necessarily announce itself. It works quietly, through timing, through relationships, through sequences of events that only reveal their significance when viewed from a wider perspective. And perhaps that is why coincidences feel so mysterious. They are not merely surprising events. They are glimpses of a larger pattern that usually remains hidden behind the ordinary flow of life. For a moment, the threads become visible. For a moment, the design reveals itself. And for a moment, you begin to suspect that reality may be operating according to a deeper order than you ever imagined. The future fear cannot detect. Fear has a very specific way of looking at reality. It focuses on what might go wrong. It imagines loss before gain. It expects obstacles before opportunities. It scans the horizon searching for danger, uncertainty, and potential disappointment. This ability helped human beings survive for thousands of years. A mind that could anticipate threats had a better chance of avoiding them. In many situations, fear acts like an alarm system designed to protect life. The problem begins when fear assumes it can see the future. Fear often behaves as though its predictions are facts. A person worries about failure and begins acting as though failure has already happened. They fear rejection and begin treating rejection as inevitable. They fear uncertainty and assume uncertainty contains something negative. Without realizing it, they start responding not to reality itself, but to imagined versions of reality created by fear. This creates a fascinating paradox. Fear spends enormous amounts of energy trying to predict tomorrow, yet it can only use information available today. It has no direct access to the opportunities that have not appeared. It cannot see the people you have not met. It cannot see the conversations that will change your thinking. It cannot see the doors that will open 6 months from now. It cannot see the skills you have not yet developed. It cannot see the strengths that will emerge through challenges you have not faced. Fear is limited to the present perspective, and because of this limitation, it often creates a future far smaller than the one reality is actually preparing. Imagine standing in a dark valley surrounded by mountains. From your position, the landscape seems confined. You can see only what is directly in front of you. You cannot see the rivers beyond the hills. You cannot see the cities beyond the horizon. You cannot see the pathways hidden behind the terrain. Fear makes conclusions from this limited view. It assumes that what it cannot see does not exist. Life repeatedly proves otherwise. How many of your most important experiences were invisible before they arrived? The friendships that changed your life, the opportunities that transformed your direction, the discoveries that expanded your understanding, the moments of growth that emerged from difficulties. Before these experiences happened, you could not see them. You could not predict them. You could not plan for them completely. Yet they became part of your story. Quantum mysteries suggest that reality contains possibilities beyond immediate observation. What appears visible is only a fraction of the larger picture. Human experience reflects this principle constantly. The future contains variables, connections, and opportunities that remain hidden from present awareness. Fear cannot calculate these unseen factors. Fear only measures known information. It works like a weather forecast trying to predict an entire year using a single day of data. The conclusions may sound convincing, but they are incomplete. This is why fear so often predicts futures that never happen. It creates stories. It creates scenarios, it creates outcomes. Then reality unfolds differently. The feared event never arrives. The obstacle becomes a lesson. The setback becomes a turning point. The ending becomes a beginning. Looking back, people often realize they spent years worrying about futures that existed only in imagination. Meanwhile, the actual future was developing in directions they never considered. The deeper mystery is that fear cannot detect the larger pattern. It cannot see how today's challenge may create tomorrow's opportunity. It cannot see how a closed door may redirect you toward a better path. It cannot see how confusion may be preparing clarity. It cannot see how uncertainty may be guiding you toward a destination beyond your current vision. Fear sees the immediate gap. Reality sees the entire journey. Fear sees the unfinished chapter. Reality contains the whole story. This does not mean fear is useless. It means fear is limited. Its perspective is narrow. Its vision is incomplete. Its predictions are based on fragments rather than the larger design. And perhaps that is why some of the greatest transformations arrive from places fear never thought to look. The future contains possibilities beyond the reach of anxiety. It contains opportunities beyond the reach of doubt. It contains outcomes beyond the reach of prediction. Fear cannot detect them because they do not yet exist within its field of view. But reality is already moving toward them. And while fear remains focused on what could go wrong, life quietly continues building possibilities that the fearful mind is incapable of imagining. That is the future fear cannot be detected, not because it is hidden forever, but because it belongs to a larger reality than fear can perceive from where it currently stands, the destination that was waiting before your arrival. There is a powerful assumption that shapes the way most people see their lives. They believe they are moving toward something that does not exist yet, a future relationship, a future opportunity, a future breakthrough, a future version of themselves. Everything important seems to be somewhere ahead, waiting to be created through effort, decisions, and time. This perspective feels natural because life unfolds moment by moment. We cannot see next year, we cannot see the people we have not met, we cannot see the opportunities that have not appeared. As a result, the future feels empty, as though it is waiting for us to build it. But what if the future is not empty? What if the destination already exists on a level of reality beyond your current perspective? Imagine boarding a train without knowing its final stop. You can see the seat you are sitting in. You can see the scenery passing outside the window. You can see the station you just left. What you cannot see is the entire route stretching ahead. The destination already exists. The tracks already exist. The stations already exist. You simply have not reached them yet. Life often feels similar. From your current position, the future appears uncertain because you can only see a small section of the journey. Yet uncertainty does not necessarily mean the destination is missing. It may simply mean the destination remains outside your present field of view. Think about the most important moments that have already happened in your life. The people who changed you, the opportunities that redirected you, the experiences that transformed your understanding. Before they arrived, you knew nothing about them. You could not see them coming. You could not predict their exact timing. Yet they were already waiting somewhere ahead on the path of your experience. They were invisible. Today, they are part of your history. This realization changes the way we think about destiny. Many people imagine destiny as a rigid script where every detail is fixed and every choice is meaningless. Yet a deeper possibility exists. The destination may exist while the journey remains alive. The mountain may be real even though there are many paths leading toward it. The destination may wait for your arrival while still allowing you to grow, learn, choose, and transform along the way. Quantum discussions about time have raised fascinating questions about whether past, present, and future are as separate as they appear. Some interpretations suggest that reality may exist as a larger structure than the mind experiences directly. If that possibility contains even a grain of truth, then the future may not be something that suddenly appears from nothing. It may be something that gradually becomes visible as awareness moves through time. This helps explain why certain events feel strangely inevitable when viewed in hindsight. A person looks back and realizes that countless experiences were quietly guiding them toward a specific moment. A setback forced a change in direction. A disappointment created space for a new opportunity. An unexpected meeting introduced a future possibility. Each event seemed isolated. Years later, they form a pattern. The path becomes visible. The destination reveals that it had been influencing the journey long before it was reached. Imagine a river flowing toward the ocean. The river does not know every twist and turn ahead. It encounters rocks. It encounters obstacles. It changes direction many times, yet throughout the entire journey, the ocean remains there. The destination exists before the river arrives. The destination influences the movement long before the meeting occurs. Human life often carries a similar mystery. The future version of your life may already contain experiences, opportunities, and connections that are moving toward you even now. You cannot see them yet because you are standing within the current chapter. You cannot recognize them yet because the story is still unfolding, but their existence does not depend on your awareness of them. They may already be waiting beyond the horizon of your present understanding. This perspective transforms the meaning of delays. A delay no longer appears as proof that nothing is happening. It may simply mean the timing is still unfolding. A detour no longer appears as evidence that you are lost. It may be part of the route leading toward the destination. An unanswered question no longer appears as failure. It may be preparing you to recognize the answer when it arrives. And perhaps this is the deepest lesson of all. The destination was not created the moment you discovered it. The opportunity was not born the moment you noticed it. The future did not suddenly begin existing when it entered your awareness. It may have been there all along, quietly waiting beyond the limits of your current perspective, waiting through the doubts, waiting through the delays, waiting through the chapters where nothing seemed clear, not because you were chasing it, but because you and the destination were moving toward the same meeting point from the very beginning. And one day, when the timing is right, what now feels uncertain may reveal itself as something that had been waiting for your arrival long before you knew it existed. As this journey comes to an end, consider a possibility that challenges everything we assume about time. Perhaps the future is not an empty space waiting to be created. Perhaps it is a hidden reality waiting to be reached. The delays, detours, and unexpected turns may not be evidence that you are lost. They may be part of a path leading toward an outcome larger than your current perspective can see. Quantum mysteries continue to suggest that reality is far stranger than appearances. And if the future already exists in some deeper form, then your task is not to force it into existence. Your task is to become aware of it. The future was never chasing you. It may have been waiting for you from the very beginning. And one day, what now feels uncertain may reveal itself as something that was sealed all along.